Someone wanted to wish all of you a good morning. It starts.
I'm a dad. So here's what happens, all right? You read the books, you watch the movies. I'm prepared to stand there for hours. I'm thinking to myself, what am I gonna say? What am I not gonna say? More importantly, what am I not gonna say, right? How am I gonna encourage my wife? You got this, do this. And I just remember I grabbed my camera and I just wanted to get the moment that the baby was put on my wife. You know, my wife has spent so much time watching me, and whether it was football or performing, and you know, the cameras have been on me, and it's like, okay, now is a chance for me to capture a moment for my wife to watch forever. Look, I played pro football, I've played through pain. Like, I know what I can physically and emotionally get through and push through. I've never seen my wife in that moment. I haven't seen that yet. And when she had our baby, this is gonna sound weird, it might, but it was the sexiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, to watch her just go whoosh and get into like game mode and just do whatever it took. And then there's a moment where they put the baby on her and her head goes back and she just takes a deep breath. She brings her head back up and our baby just kind of like puts her hand on my wife's face. And then it hit me. And it was like, oh my gosh, here's this beautiful baby girl. And we named her Amaya Love Dorenbos. And it was, man, that was the most magical thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Good morning, my loves.
Good morning.
Hey, beautiful girl. Hi.
We had the Brady Bunch family. You know, my dad was very active in our life. He worked for Microsoft at the time, and I played catch with him every single day. And my mom volunteered at the library and volunteered at the school, and she was there at everything. My brother was 6 years older, my sister was 3 years older, so we were close. I just remember it was like not a worry in the world. And we did things as a family. We went on family vacations and we hung out, we had dinners together, and you know, it was a great family.
Woodinville is this great little place about a half hour out of Seattle. It's just surrounded by these amazing trees and country and space, and it was a really great place to grow up. One of my first memories of Jon is, I remember the day my parents had bought the house and they were taking us up the hill to see it for the first time. And I remember seeing this kid at the top of the driveway about 3 houses down, playing at the top of the driveway. And he waved to us on the way back down. And I thought, that's just kind of cool and strange. This is like an 8-year-old kid by himself, waving and smiling to this car of people he doesn't know. So that was the first time we ever saw him. And then I think the day we moved in, we met him because he came over and said, hey, you know, let's go make a picnic and we'll go down and have a picnic at the bottom of the hill. And we did, and we kind of went back to his house and he like packed a bag and had all this stuff and made sandwiches and got fruit and sodas, and we went down the hill and we had a picnic and kind of like talked and got to know each other, and it was great. And I think it kind of speaks to Jon, because you look at Jon now and it's kind of like in a lot of ways he hasn't changed. When I first met him, it was like everybody's a friend, everybody is deserving of inclusion, and he's still that way. So that was my first memory of Jon.
So Kathy was just a light. She had a great laugh. She was a lot of fun. They were very close, very connected. And yes, she was your hero.
Yeah, she volunteered at the school.
Yeah, there's a library in her name.
Cottage Lake Elementary School in Woodinville, Washington. The library is actually named after her, which is pretty cool.
A memorial.
Yep.
His mom was involved with all aspects of, like, you know, the neighborhood, and she was just a really fantastic, kind mom who really cared about being part of a community. And that just showed in everything that she did. And his dad was running the Little League, and we would go over there all the time, and his parents were always around, and we would interact with them quite a bit.
You know, as far as I remember and as far as I observed, my parents had a great relationship. And you know, it's one of those things though, but as I've gotten older, I guess you never really know. until you're there, and you never really know what goes on behind closed doors, but I always thought that they had a loving relationship.
Live at 5 o'clock, Como News 4.
Good afternoon. There's been a bizarre murder in Woodinville.
Police say a man killed his wife, put her in the trunk of their car, drove to the police station, and turned himself in.
Jon Dorenbos has been taken to the King County Jail, where police say he's being booked on suspicion of murder.
I was 12 years old when the Harpers picked me up and drove me to the police station.
From what I remember is the night that it happened, we were all playing, a group of kids was playing in the neighborhood, and John went home that night, and his dad said that, you know, his mom had gone to bed. The next morning we had baseball camp, and it was my mom's turn to drive, so we got in the car and we drove to John's house. And John was at the top of his driveway with his dad, all his gear. So we went to baseball camp, and then at the end of camp, my mom picked us up and said that there's been a family emergency. And I remember the police officer came out and took John and let him inside, and we wanted to go too. My mom said, you can't go in there. And that was when they told us that his mom had died.
Jon Dorenbos is accused of second-degree murder. The prosecutor says he hit his wife, Kathy, 9 times with a bench grinder. As his children and his wife's relatives listened in horror, a jury had decided his fate.
We find the defendant, Jon Dorenbos, guilty of murder in the second degree.
And I don't think there's ever a time in your life that you're prepared to hear the news that you've lost your parents, whether it was a car accident, whether it was a natural disaster or whatever. So you're facing that, and then all of a sudden you're told that it's because your dad killed your mom. That's a whole different level of shock that you're just not expecting. One, you're not expecting to get the news that you lost him, and 2, you're not expecting to get the news in that way. And you're completely numb.
This is very, very difficult for everyone. The parents and the sister have lost a daughter, and the children have lost a mother and a father.
They're good kids with good self-esteem. They're intelligent, and they've been hurt, and they're just trying to get by day to day, really.
We all have our ups and downs, right? That's part of life. But how we deal with it and how we cope with it, that's what separates us, and I believe that. So sure enough, I was adopted by, I lived in a foster family for about a year and a half, and then my aunt, that woman right there, my mom's sister, she ended up adopting my sister and I.
We were so blessed to find this foster care that took Chrissy and Jonathan. Randy had turned 18, so he actually went with another family to live with. I'm battling with the courts to get custody of the kids. I'm going through a process that is just amazing to see if I qualify taking care of them. So that in itself took 8 months, and then they went to a really loving home, and we were very grateful, and we would fly out and see them as, you know, every week until it was all, your school year was over, and I was approved that I was able to have custody of the kids.
You know, my dad did something really bad. If I were to let that affect me every day going forward, after he went to prison knowing that the relationship was no more, well, that's my fault. He changed my life, but let me tell you, it took over a year where I went to bed every single morning, and every time I woke up, I thought I was gonna wake up and the whole thing was a dream. And I genuinely, at my core, believed, I'm gonna close my eyes right now, and when I wake up, I'm gonna hear the pan downstairs, I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna smell the breakfast, and it's all a dream. And sure enough, every day I woke up was just like a disappointment, because I realized it wasn't a dream.
So all of a sudden, man, when I was 13, I came home, my dad killed my mom, and it was awful. My sister and I went into foster care, and that was me as a little guy. And this is what's really cool, man. The first home I lived in for about 2 months, they actually had a neighbor that was a magician, 16-year-old Michael Groves. He's in the blue shirt right there. And back then, which a lot of us come from the same era, we didn't have cell phones, right? We didn't have iPhones, we didn't have instant access, we didn't have cameras all the time, we just didn't have it. So this dude actually set up the tripod, the camera, the VHS tape, plugged it into the wall. And this is me seeing a card trick, a magic trick for the very first time in my entire life. So for me to have that footage, man, I think that's really cool. That changed my life right there.
I think the message of my show is this. If I had to put it into like one sentence, I'll try. It's that life doesn't care, and that things are gonna happen, good and bad. And it's something that we can all relate to. And it's what we do with that. And it's what our name stands for. And in that moment, are we gonna be victims? Or are we gonna say, you know what, this is just a part of life, and I can deal with this, and I can grow from this, and I can find a positive in this?
Every one of us, I don't care what race you are, what religion you are, I don't care what color your skin is, I don't care what your job title is, I don't care how much money you have, but guess what we can all relate to, baby? Getting kicked down, right? We can all relate to struggle, and we can all relate to the decision that we all make in that moment. That's what differentiates us. We all go through stuff, baby, but then in that moment right there, we decide, are we people of vision or are we people of circumstance?
Magic was my escape. It gave me a purpose. My cards, I say this all the time, they were my 52 buddies that I could carry with me anywhere. And I know that if I sit down at a table and I shuffle, literally the sound of the cards riffling, just that sound and just the feel of it. When I was a kid, I forgot about everything going on around me. And it was just that moment, and I was just a kid. And here's what's really cool. I found something young that for whatever reason, those things never lied to me. And they always told me when I was wrong. And if you really think about what that is, that's really cool. And all they did is they don't talk to me, you know. It's not like you mess up a trick and then I know I'm wrong. It's my mind could just chill out and just soak everything in with just this peacefulness of shuffling cards. And they kind of just steered me in the direction I wanted to go.
Well, go ahead and look. Look at your hand. Oh, go ahead and show everybody that nothing happened. Actually, you know, I drew your wrong hand. I drew your right hand. Go ahead and take a look at your right hand. Go ahead and show me. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Ruby. Hey, give a nice round of applause for Mr. Chase. You know, right now, I'm going to turn the show over to a very dear friend of mine. He is responsible for all of my success in the world of magic. Ladies and gentlemen, will you put your hands together for Mr. Ken Sands.
You know, I think when you go to your parents at 12 or 13 and you're like, I want to be a magician. There are some parents that are like, what about being a doctor? And you're like, I want to be a magician. All right, well, what about being a doctor? And I'm like, no, my sister became the doctor. But you guys supported everything I did. If it was magic, then it was. And she had a friend that was dating a guy that was a magician, introduced us, and the support that I got from the family to do things, I think it didn't lock me into like bitterness and creativity. Like instead they supported everything, so it just allowed my brain to just go.
I'd like to introduce somebody who I hold very dear to me. In fact, I met him about 3 years ago. We struck up a wonderful friendship, and he is arguably one of my best friends and a wonderful young man. So if you will, would you please put your hands together for Jonathan.
As I grew up, I realized that my brain was processing parts of my life that maybe didn't make sense, and it was processing emotion. It was doing all this thing by not thinking about it. And creatively, the support that you guys gave me, and taking me to magic places and shops and buying this, and just, I was working on a fire trick, and the rule was you can't do it if she's not home, and well, that lasted about a day until I did, and then I lit the living room carpet on fire, and then I tried to patch it and it just wasn't good. And then as time went on, I realized that that was kind of my outlet, that was kind of my escape. And it gave me a sense of being a part of something really cool. It gave me a sense of being part of this new family of magic that I didn't even know existed, but I felt like I belonged there.
When I was a kid, I loved all these tricks. And when I got into magic, the tricks that I got into, for some reason, for so long, they involved tearing things up and putting things back together. Which is kind of ironic because that's what we do our whole life, right? When things don't go our way, things get torn up, and guess what? Things don't always happen the way we want. And I thought this was cool, so I saw this trick. It wasn't this one. The way the guy did it on TV was way better. But it's all good. Well, don't worry about that. That just means that the newspaper won't exactly restore all the way. You guys are the only ones that got that. Thanks. But I'll tell you this. We can always make it happen. Piece by piece, you just get up and you just put yourself back together. So,
Actually, in my baby book, it said, if John were my first, I would have never had 3. And I was going to be the first one to smoke weed and do cocaine and do tattoos.
Which you did. You had earrings.
I did have earrings.
I did let him get earrings because he did
What were you thinking, by the way, when I went to school with 2 earrings? Which actually, I actually did kill that look, by the way. I did kill it.
You did.
And then I had long hair and I shaved it on the sides. It was awful. And then you got me a trench coat.
I did.
So
and he never
bad.
took it off. He basically slept in his trench coat.
I did. I had shorts, Timberlands, a trench coat, long hair, shaved on the sides with earrings, and I was an early developer, if you will. I looked like I was 25.
You were a man-child.
13.
You're a man-child.
Yeah, and then I stopped growing, so, you know, here we are today.
Man-child.
Yeah.
Catcher number 35, Jon Dorenbos. Come on, Jesus.
So Jonathan was in the City League when he moved to California. And when the other families saw Jonathan go up to bat, they like had a fit because they thought he was 17 years old. He's 12. And I'm like, no, I promise he's in the same grade as your kids. He really is. And they're having an absolute fit. And I go, no, he is your son's age. He's just bigger. And they're like, this is a man-child, hence man-child.
And the people in the stands wanted to know why you didn't jump over the fence to get that one foul ball.
Yeah.
I didn't want
Climb it.
to. I didn't want to embarrass, Ken Griffey and Bo Jackson and all that.
Okay, and John.
And then all of a sudden I got to high school and everybody's excited, right? Because I was the big kid. Well, so it was like me and everybody else. And then when I went to high school, this happened. And then everybody that I was towering now towered me. And it was like, I peaked in high school.
He peaked in junior high.
Oh, it's even worse. I peaked in junior high. It's even worse.
He got thicker. I remember Coach Craven, the football coach, 7th grade was looking at Jonathan to play football for the high school.
And then by 11th grade, he just ignored me.
John was a good athlete. John was a big body for high school. So I think that's kind of what set him apart. I mean, dude, you put him on a basketball court, he backed down to the lane. He was able to, get guys out of his way. But John, being a bigger guy and an athletic type of dude, he set himself apart.
Yeah, and my high school coach, Bill Craven, said, hey, you can throw a ball overhand, right? I said, yeah, here you go. Okay, can you throw it between your legs? I go, I don't know, let's try it. And I was just, out of the group of people, I did it the best. I was not good.
But that was John, though.
Yeah,
if something needed to get done, John could get it done. Hey. That's just what happened.
It's probably the nicest thing you've ever said.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Thanks, man.
No,
Thanks.
John was the guy. John was like the go-to guy, though. Hey, we need a first baseman, Dorenbos.
Get it done.
Try it out. Hey, we need somebody to play left field, Dorenbos. Head out there. So he was just the go-to guy that if a coach needed something done, they knew it was going to get handled. So.
And I wouldn't say I did it pretty. I wouldn't say I was ever the best at anything, but I think I kind of just figured out a way to get it done,
It's kind of interesting because 2 summers ago, the Miners needed a deep snapper, and you basically created your own position, didn't you? Because you hadn't snapped in junior college.
Yeah, let the truth be known. No, actually, it was important for me to go to a junior college and to get out as soon as possible. I didn't want to waste 2 years of eligibility at a junior college when I felt I was ready earlier. So I made all the business stuff and the academics to make sure that was ready. And then I had a friend here that was a receiver, and he called me up, hey, we need a deep snapper. I live with the punter. So I sent all my high school film and went ahead and threw some of the deep snapper at our junior college and made it look like me, you know what I mean, a little bit. But I knew I could do it. So I sent the film, they liked it, they tripped me out here, and it ended up working.
We're in our Hall of Champions. We have a running timeline of the history of Miner football. And of course, our only conference championship, we have Jon Dorenbos. The only picture we have of a newspaper like this is of John. And rightfully so, because he brought so much to that team, so much togetherness and positivity and energy that this is John. in 2000 when he was a pup.
He went to Golden West Junior College, played football, and then from there, you went to UTEP.
Correct.
Dude, and I remember this. We were so jacked when he got the scholarship. He came over, dial-up internet, right? You go AOL, and it's like, you know, like that noise. And I was like, dude, I got to see the stadium. It was a Sun Bowl.
Right.
And I remember seeing a picture and was like, oh my gosh, this is so sick. Like, it's huge.
I went to Golden West, and you know, fortunate to make it out to UTEP, and Jon followed in footsteps, I guess I always like to say. Ended up going to Golden West, and we did a lot of talking. Hey, what are you going to do? Oh, I think I may be transferring to another junior college. All right, well, we're losing our long snapper.
So we needed a snapper in 2000. Our snapper the 3 previous years graduated and went through spring. Nobody on the team could do it. And Jon's good buddy, Paul Tessier, says, I have a friend that's a snapper.
Jon came out. I dropped the word to a couple of the coaching staff that like to work out at the Sun Bowl. So comes on out, and ended up a little workout on the Sun Bowl turf. And Coach Poss hit me up afterwards and said, hi, tell Jon to give me a video, you know, in his South Texas twang. So he got a video in, and
all the high school footage was me, and I had some high school footage of me snapping. And then all of a sudden I was like, man, but I haven't done it in a while. And gosh, Tim Thurman, man, he's really good. He was the snapper at the junior college, and you played with him.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, I was very fortunate. I had a lot of people help me. I had a lot of coaches believe in me that gave me opportunities, and I had a career I'm very thankful for. But Tim Thurman was better then than I ever was in my entire career. He was like a 6'6" long snapper and just hummed it, spiral every time. He had huge hands, and I'll just borrow his tape and just put a few clips of maybe him snapping, and we'll just call it a day.
I was sure it was him, but after you get to know Jon, you're not sure, but it was Golden West Community College.
The high school footage was me.
Right.
And I will say this, I was on that tape with some help.
And I still to this day believe it's Jon, but that's part of the lure of Jon, that he wants you to believe maybe it's not him.
No HD, no internet, one camera, and like, you look at that footage now, the kids these days, they have no idea how blurry it was, right? I mean, it's just...
Yeah, you couldn't tell 47.
It wouldn't have happened. Yeah, it wouldn't have happened today. It would have been clear as day that that guy's 6'6".
Did you recruit this guy for his magic tricks or for his football?
No, for his football.
This is just an added benefit.
I didn't know about that.
Go ahead and break a piece of thread off.
Okay.
This is the part that really excites me right here.
29-yard field goal attempt. Jon Dorenbos on the snap. Rocky Perez the holder. The kick on its way, and it is good.
Got a man, complete touchdown UTEP. Paul Tessier, a senior from Garden Grove, California, aimed into the Chico route and 33 in point after. This one is good, and we've got a tie ball game. Rocky Perez, the TD pass to Tessier, and the point after makes it 7-all.
We watched him snap, and you don't snap in the NFL for as long as he did unless you're really good. And he was really good from the get-go. So the video, how much of that was true, I don't know, but Jon could snap.
Jon Dorenbos is the deep snapper for the Miners, and he has been quite a magician over the years.
For somebody who's had some of the breaks that he's had, losing both of his parents when he was 12, he's turned out to be a super kid and has turned it into as good a thing as he can to learn from it and to grow from it.
I remember I did an interview, and I forgot who it was with, and they said, hey, what's your goal? And I looked around, I said, man. And they said, well, do you want to win a Super Bowl? Well, yeah, of course I do. You know what my goal is? I want to be the oldest guy on the team. And I remember they looked at me like, wait, what? Yeah, I want to be the oldest guy on the team. Because I figured if I'm the oldest guy on the team, then I probably was given the most opportunities to win a Super Bowl. I was given the most opportunities to do whatever I want, and I'll have the best memories of anybody because I was here longer than anybody. And sure enough, guess what? I was the oldest guy on the team. And then 2 weeks later, we signed Donnie freaking Jones. And he was 2 weeks older than me. Oh, hey. Hey.
Hey, welcome back to the show here. We were, Jon and I were just having a little discussion on, wow, this is my 11th season in the NFL. And I think back 10 years ago, I was selected with the 224th pick in the 7th round of the Seattle Seahawks.
Was that Mr. Irrelevant?
It was not. I was pretty close. Okay. But speaking of draft, you were 03. What round?
Yeah, I wasn't drafted at all, actually.
Oh, Oh, sorry.
But
Didn't
oh, but that's a Pro Bowl. I don't know if you can smell that one.
I definitely don't have any of those to my credit.
For me, it was extremely rewarding to see Jon make it as far as he did in the NFL. Into his 15th season, you know, a few different teams. I was just stoked that I had a buddy that I grew up with getting to roll out there, man. That's it.
It's like the second nicest thing you've ever said about me.
Hey, that's what I do.
And I was super stoked, and we actually, oh, and you can validate this story. And this is 100% true, and I'm glad you're here to validate this. 2006, I signed with the Eagles. Next thing you know, we're playing the Giants in the playoffs, and it's my first year as a snapper. So I'm in the hotel room, and I get out, and I'm shaving.
At that time, he was living at the Marriott.
I was living at the Marriott. I lived at the Marriott.
Just signed and hadn't had a place yet, so that's where I was staying when I go out there. So
yeah, so he comes in, I'm shaving. What are you shaving for? What do you mean, what am I shaving for, dude? When I snap a game-winning field goal and we win this thing, I gotta look good for the cameras. That's what I told him. He goes, I tell you what, dude, if you do this, and this really, I'm in section 107, you better jump in the crowd and I'm gonna be there.
From the crafty hands of Dorenbos into the hands of Detmer and eventually off the foot of Akers. It'll be a 38-yard try for Akers, who's 2 for 2. Detmer just re-signed, puts it up, and Akers drills it.
I kid you not. We snapped a game-winning field goal against the Giants, and in pregame, I realized that when you go in our tunnel, section 107 is right there on the right.
Dorenbos, the long snapper, celebrates.
We snapped the field goal. I saw 107, and I knew my boy Tessio was in there somewhere. And I remember I jumped, and it was way higher than I thought. Right. And I didn't make it. And they had to like carry me. I'm like running, going, I'll get there. I'm on my way, I'll get there. But you know what? I didn't forget. 107.
Yep.
Coy Detmer, Jon Dorenbos.
It was a perfect snap, perfect placement, a perfect kick, and the Eagles beat the New York Giants on a walk-off field goal, 23-20.
Jackson takes it at the 35. He's at the 45. Midfield. He's at the 40. He's let it go. And the Eagles win.
This is Miracle in the Meadowlands #2.
I had a chance to live it, and one of the best parts about living it was sharing it with people that didn't. And when I was a kid and I'd go to the Seattle Mariners game, I literally every day I went to a game. Jay Buhner or Ken Griffey Jr. was going to call me down to play catch. It's going to happen. Like today's my day. Never happened. And so I remember when I went to the Eagles and I got in the pros, I would always pull a kid out and I'd play catch, whether it was a practice or a game, whatever it was, whether the soldiers were on the field. I could take a few seconds to go throw a few passes to somebody, and to me, that's what it's all about.
How long have you been with the Eagles?
Dude, first of all, Max, you're the man, dude. This guy's got a career in journalism. My name's Jon Dorenbos. This is my 14th year in the NFL. And let me tell you something, nothing has made me more proud, nothing has given me more honor than to spend 11 years of my life with you guys in this city, rocking the Philadelphia Eagles. We love you.
Jon Dorenbos will play in his 162nd game, and Harold Carmichael held that record for a long time. I think this year, Mr. Carmichael, your record goes down.
And that is his record for 162nd consecutive games.
Here is the punt by Jones. The left footer gets it away.
Not a good injury for the Eagles. Jon Dorenbos on that last punt return hurt his right wrist. He tried to snap the football, and he had problems doing it. It does not look good for Dorenbos.
Jon Dorenbos, who's been here for such a long time, Pro Bowler 2 times. His wrist, he's got a wrist injury. He just can't do it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Starting over. So right now, offense, defensive line, it starts there. They're looking solid. I mean, obviously, when you got Carson Wentz, it makes a big difference. And now I feel like, you know, people are in the right spots, that they have strengths, and there's people around them to complement them, and that's a really good thing. So everybody's excited here. Yeah, Coach Peterson's doing a great job, all the coaches. So it's been a fun training camp. It's been my 15th, and so I've seen a lot, and I'm super excited.
New at 11, one of the Eagles' most popular players is flying the coop.
The team announced it's traded long snapper Jon Dorenbos. The Eagles shipped the veteran to the Saints for a 7th-round pick in 2019. This brings to an end Dorenbos' long run in South Philly, where he played parts of 11 seasons with the Birds.
Now, given what Jon Dorenbos meant to the community and this organization, how difficult was trading him?
It's tough. It's tough. You know, I've known him for a long time, and he's been sort of the
the icon, the staple around the city of Philadelphia for a lot of years. And he still gets to continue his career, obviously, and I'm happy for him and everything that he's done, but those decisions are extremely hard.
No question, Saints medical personnel conducted a follow-up exam on the former Eagles long snapper recently and uncovered an aortic aneurysm, which had gone undetected, could have been fatal.
I want to show you guys this picture. All right, here we go. So this happens. So all of a sudden I get the call, right? The Eagles are going to make a trade. Because at the age I was at, I understood it. And if I was the team at my age, I probably would have done the same thing. So what happens is they trade me. But when I go to New Orleans, you guys know the story. I get my physical. And guess what they tell me? Hey, John, you didn't pass your physical. You're going to have open heart surgery. And it's an emergency and it's going to end your career. And so sure enough, that was me. I was an athlete on top of the world, right? Thought I had the world by the balls.
And then I was traded to New Orleans, and then they discovered the aneurysm. And I went to Dr. Bavaria in Philadelphia as the #1 guy in the world.
A lot of people want to know what I had done, and this is it. There's a circle right there. That's the aorta right here. And then there's this circle, which is this part right here. Those two circles should be the same size. And eventually it blows up so big it pops. When it pops, 3 seconds, you're dead before you hit the ground. There ain't no coming back. So sure enough, I was super fortunate, man, that the New Orleans Saints found this. It just so happened to show up when he put a stethoscope on my chest. And had I played Monday night in 2 days and got hit in the chest, he was like, man, lights out, man.
All right, we got a big day here today. John is enjoying his first shower. How does it feel?
This is unbelievable. Oh my God. It's like I've never felt water before. I love it.
Good to be alive.
I'll tell you what, that woman right there. So my wife and I, we were in the hospital for about a month, a little over 3.5 weeks. I told her to leave, get out of here, and she wouldn't go. Stayed by my side the entire time. And it was the greatest thing ever.
Hey,
ready?
This is the big setup, and then I crush it.
You got it.
All right, 2,000. I'll be honest with you, I don't even know what that score means, but it sounds great to me.
Definitely was a whirlwind, and it was definitely something that you don't want to really deal with 2 months into a marriage. But there were times where I literally tried to kick my wife out of the hospital because I just wanted her to go outside and get some fresh air. I wanted her to go do yoga, just go get something, right? And if I didn't leave that room, she didn't leave that room. And you know, we were in the hospital 30 days post-surgery.
Nice. Take a rest. You just got to put the cameras on. We hit them.
The support, the love, the unconditional love. Like, I literally look at her and I've never been loved so much in my entire life than I have by her. And it's a cool feeling. And it's a cool feeling to have a different perspective in my life to really appreciate that. And then now to be able to come back home to California and buy a house and kind of set a foundation, and now we're having a baby, and like, there is nobody in this world that I could possibly imagine that I would even want to have to start a family with than her. If this isn't the story of my life, start new beginnings with a notice. It's always good. Anyways, come on in. Hold on. All right, yeah, that'll work. A little glitch in the door there, but nothing time can't fix. We're really excited because I've been a condo guy my whole life. And so for the first time, my wife and I, we feel like adults because we purchased a house. It's like a big deal. A house, a baby. Probably put a white picket fence in there, and then you never know what's going to happen.
9 seconds left. Eagles by 8. Brady. He is throwing it deep for the end zone, and it is batted around and incomplete. And the game is over. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Let the celebration begin.
Philly, I spent a lot of time with you, and you know what? You can't play in it. You can still celebrate it, baby. Right here, baby. Oh, let's get it. Oh, yeah. God, you got to love it. Let me get some action.
I sit back all the time, and I'm super thankful for the opportunities I've had, and I've had a lot of really cool things happen to me. But a lot of times, too, I always tell myself I never wanted to be defined as just a football player. I never wanted to be defined as just a magician. I kind of Everything I do in life is like, in my mind, it's a story for my grandkid one day.
We're backstage at America's Got Talent after the show. I feel like I'm going back to high school prom. Never mind, elementary dance.
Hey, John, welcome back.
Thanks, man.
For those that don't know, John is an Eagle. He's on the Philadelphia Eagles. He's the long snapper.
There we go. Remember earlier I said it was inside?
Yeah.
Watch.
No.
There you go, Neil. And now look, I didn't want to do this, but look, just to show you, that 5 has been drawn on there the entire time. There is your ace. There is your 5. I'm Jon Dorenbos. Peace out.
I've been fortunate to achieve a lot of things, and a lot of times I sit back and go, man, I mean, I can't believe I just did that. You know, I got to play college football, I got to play in the pros, I got to tour around, I got to sell out theaters, I got to, you know, be on America's Got Talent, I got to be a regular on Ellen.
Oh, you know what's about to go down. Tune in to Ellen. I'm with 2 legends right now. I'm gonna give you a hint right here. What? What? Are you kidding me?
What?
Sarah Silverman is in the house. You don't want to miss this. Hey, until then, peace out.
And these are all things that are accolades and materialistic, and they're fun, but I'm so excited to just come home and to have somebody and to have a child that none of that matters to them, right? It's like just this unconditional love. And I hope that I can be there for her in the way that she needs it. I hope. Here's one thing that I've been told. It's like the #1 thing. Hey, John, when you have a daughter, they're like, just never stop dating your wife. And however you treat your wife is the expectation that your daughter's gonna have. My sister and I became the first minors to have a private court order to view autopsy photos during my mom's trial. And my therapist said he fought for it. Everybody thought he was crazy. And I'll never forget this because he finally was granted the permission. And my sister and I went down to the district attorney's office, and she put the folder on the table. And so sure enough, she left, and the therapist stood up, and he looked at my sister and I, and he goes, I don't even care if you look at this. I don't care. But I think it should be your decision, not other people's. And if forever there's a reason that one day you want to see your dad again, which you might not think that now, but trust me, I've been down this road. There might be a time. If you look at these pictures, you'll never wonder what happened. And if you see them, it'll be for reasons other than what happened, maybe even why. So I'm going to step out this door, and I'm not even going to ask you. If you want to look, look. If you don't, don't.
The children wanted to hear what had happened. They wanted to know firsthand. They didn't want to have questions later on in life about what had taken place, and that's what we hopefully accomplished here. Did it help them? Yeah. I think time will tell.
The last time I saw him was in 1993. He was sentenced to 13 years at the time, and he went to Walla Walla State Penitentiary. He served 11 years, and he was released, I believe, in 2004. For years, I've had thoughts about seeing my dad, and for different reasons. 1, curiosity. 2, just to see what the guy looks like. And I never got to have lunch with my dad. So I emailed my dad, and I said, hey, in about a month, I'll be in your area. And if you want to just have coffee or sit and talk, I have no expectations. I don't want anything from you. I don't expect anything from you. Let me know if you want to meet up. And so he replied and said, yeah, I'd love to. And I've been kind of waiting for this time to be right when you'd reach out, and let's do it. So we did. So I flew to Spokane and rented a car, and we met at a place called the Safari Room, which is a restaurant and a hotel. And I got there first, and as soon as he walked in, I recognized him, and there it was. So we sat down, and we spent 5.5 hours together. And every emotion came through, every question came through. And what's funny is at the time, like I said, I didn't want anything from him. I didn't need an explanation. I didn't need validation. I didn't need anything. You know, I was there out of curiosity, and it was for me to be there, and at the core of it was because I was having a daughter in just a few weeks. And as crazy as this sounds, I wanted to experience every emotion that I had about the father-son relationship. I wanted to live it all over again, right before the moment that I became a dad. And again, I had to step back and realize that it didn't really matter what he said. It didn't matter. And when he apologized for the pain he caused, I looked at him and I said, hey, you probably weren't expecting this, but I forgive you for being lost, and I forgive you for making a mistake. And that's enough for me to move on. And I remember this. I remember sitting down with my dad, and I remember just forgetting everything that ever happened. And I was having lunch with my dad. And then you snap out of it, right? Then you realize what happened. You realize all the things that I missed out on a father-son relationship. And when I was done, I got up, and I realized why I wanted to do this whole thing. And then when my baby was born, I kid you not, and it means so much more than just this sentence, but I literally held her. And out loud, I said, you'll always be able to have lunch with your daddy. And you'll never look at me like I looked at mine, saying, who are you? Like, who are you? That moment is why I went to see my dad. And I'm so glad I did.
Oh, did you just give Amaya a kiss? Is that what happened?
Life's hard for everybody. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what religion, what race you are. I don't care what you do for a living. There's something that we can all relate to, and that's struggles. And I truly believe that it's the decision we make in that moment. Do we live in vision or circumstance? And I do everything I can. And look, I'm not perfect. I've made my mistakes. There are times that I feel bad for myself too. There's times that I have self-pity. But as quick as I can, I look in the mirror and I try and snap out of it. And I realize that that's the decision right there. Do I be a victim, or I just tell myself, hey, it's life and life doesn't care. And we're gonna rally, and we're gonna get stronger because of this. And we're gonna find the positive in this so we can live a happy life, because that's, man, once it's all said and done, what does it matter if you're not happy? So I've been through a lot in my life, and I've surrounded myself with people that I love, and I truly am thankful that I married a woman that I feel like brings the best out in me, and that's a cool thing. And so it's a new beginning, and it's our first house, it's our first baby, and I'm so excited to be a dad and to kind of be the dad that I didn't have for a while.
Everyone in this room, we have a role. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big it is, how small it is important. It's what makes this thing go round. You take pride in that role. And when you think you don't want to show up, when you think it is the moment that you can't go on, know that people are watching you. Know that people are counting on you. Know that people are looking up to you, idolizing you in different aspects of your life. May every one of us come through for those people. Man, you do that, man. It's a room that wants to win for each other more than ourselves, man. And that's when you just, man, it's unbelievable.
Jon has a really well-defined personal philosophy on life, and that comes from where he's been. And you know, there's no doubt in my mind that that philosophy will translate so well into like just being an incredible, loving father that he's always had in him and that he's always wanted to be.
As long as I've known him, I've always believed that he's going to be a really good dad and a really good husband, and we'll have a really fun, happy family, because that's, you know, the kind of person he is.
I think for Jon and our friendship, I think just him staying so grounded just, you know, speaks volumes for the kind of person that he is on and off the field. And I think everybody in his personal life, his professional life, in his after the NFL life, I think everybody would agree that the guy is stand up and you know, would do anything for everybody. So for me, being a friend of Jon's, it's been, you know, an honor and you know, just a blessing to be able to follow along with him.
Jon has done such amazing things in his life. He fights the odds. But he works so hard. This isn't something that comes easy. He works. He sets his mind to something and he does it. Like I always said, Jon has two speeds. He's working, he's on, and then there's sleep. You know, it's trying to find that middle balance.
Jon, you know, I've only got a few seconds. I'm just going to say this. You talk the talk, you walk the walk, but you're more than just a great performer. You're someone who I think we'd all be very proud to say the winner of this show is Jon Dorenbos.
I'm really proud of myself for just being happy. Like, I'm really proud of that, because I think that that is kind of what fuels the journeys and the chapters of my life that I have had and that I still don't know I will have. And I feel like I have a purpose. I feel like I have a purpose in being a husband. I have a purpose in now going to be a dad. I feel like for the people that come to my show, I have a purpose within my show, and it's not just me doing magic, but I actually have a message that I'm proud of. And boom, there's a purpose. Find your purpose, and then all of a sudden, man, you'll be proud.
This thing is all about family right here. May every one of you be proud of who you are. Hey, my name's Jon Dorenbos, man. I hope every one of you love this life. Peace out. Great day to be alive.